Hello, I'm Jennifer, I'm the founder of Silk Helix, and in this video I'm talking toxic superstars. But what do we mean by toxic superstars? Well, these are the people who are very good at what they do. They're probably your highest earner if you're in a sales environment. They hit target, they do what they need to do when it comes to the tasks, but they cause drama within the team. You go home at night frustrated at them. There's always something new you're trying to deal with, and you've probably got people leaving because of them, even if they're not explicitly saying that. So that's why I call them superstars, because they tend to be the people who are really good. And what I hear from business owners when they're telling me about these people is, but they're very good at what they do, or they bring in the most amount of money, and therefore they have huge benefits to the business. And this is why they're not got rid of quickly. And often the problems they're causing, the challenges, are a bit more hidden, a bit more subtle, and therefore it becomes really hard to deal with them. And eventually business owners get really frustrated by it. They're fed up with going home at night thinking about this person. They're having sleepless nights because of it. And that's when they get in touch with me, and it can be a real challenge at this point to deal with. And in this video I'm going to talk about what those behaviours are, and why it's a challenge to deal with, and actually how we prevent it being a challenge to deal with, and how we make sure that we can manage these people, and in some cases manage them out of the business because of the harm they're doing. So we know why they're superstars, they're hitting their targets, but why are they toxic? What is it about their behaviours that makes them toxic? Well, these people have mood swings. Everybody knows their mood. Now, I'm not saying that most people don't have moods. We have times where things are going on, things outside of work, they might be upsetting us. But these people have regular and extreme mood swings, and everybody knows about it. It's not just something quiet. It's not just, I just need my coffee before you talk to me this morning. Everybody knows about it. There is always a drama. There is always something that they're involved in, something that's going off, whether it's to do with them or not quite to do with them, but somehow they're involved. These people will often use derogatory comments. They'll often be involved in banter. They may leave people feeling upset, micromanaged, controlled. They may leave people feeling just uneasy or lacking confidence. And often it gets excused because, oh, well, that's just them. They do it to everyone. Just ignore them. They do it to everyone. And we often think of a bully as somebody who specifically chooses their victim. So the bully may have the crowd that likes them, thinking about the sort of school bully. They found one person within the class that they choose to pick on and consistently pick on that one person. These toxic superstars don't do that. That's not their style. They tend to do this to everybody. They tend to have to make themselves feel better, often by banter, by being the centre of the team, or by making people feel uncomfortable, telling stories about their history, what they've done, why they're better at this, why they've got great experience, all of these things. And it's put down to, well, that's just how they are. They do this to everyone. And therefore it's not considered to be bullying or looked at because it doesn't fit our norms of what we see bullying to be. They may even go further than this. You may have somebody who actually shouts or belittles or intimidates members of the team. Crucially, you'll find that this person lacks any responsibility or accountability for their actions. So when you talk to them about it, there's always blame. There's always someone or something else that's done something, or they deflect, but it always moves away from them. So they're never going to learn from this. They're never going to take this incident and say, actually, how can I improve next time and be better? Because they're not looking in on themselves to take that responsibility. And that's a really important one, because people do make mistakes. We're all human. But what most of us do is go, okay, that didn't go well. That wasn't how I wanted to deal with that situation. How can I be better in the future? When we're talking these toxic superstars, often you don't hear that. And that makes trying to get improvement really difficult, because we think as managers, well, we can coach them, we can support them, we can tell them how they should be behaving in the workplace, and then they will. But they won't unless they take responsibility for their own actions and they choose to improve. They choose to take any advice, support, training that you're giving them. If they don't choose to take it, doesn't matter what you give, it's not going to change anything. That's not to say don't try, and it's always worth trying, because as I say, people that do take accountability and responsibility will learn, will change, will improve, and you may get a great employee out of this because you've got somebody who's willing to look in on themselves, willing to change, willing to develop. But you've got to work out which type of person you've got. And if you've got that person who's always got blame, always got excuses, not taking any responsibility, then that really is a sign that you're probably never going to see any change and that these behaviours are always going to be there. So I mentioned at the start of the video some of the impacts that you're going to see from this behaviour. You are probably, as a business owner or manager of this person, you are going to find yourself going home feeling stressed. You are going to feel the confusion. You're going to be trying to work out what it is that's going on, why it's happening. There'll be lots of conflated issues because this thing over there matters to it and this thing over there influenced it. You'll be trying to pull apart all of these things, and it's just going to leave you feeling exhausted and frustrated. The same to other members of the team. It's going to impact on them. Even if we're just saying, oh, it's just them, just ignore them. People don't. And particularly certain personality types, people who take on criticism or overthinkers who read into things, it's going to have a really big impact on those people. So do bear in mind that it will impact different people differently, and that's going to depend on their circumstances, their backgrounds, their personality, a whole range of things. But it's going to be causing stress. So within the team, you're going to have people who are going to feel stressed. You're going to have people who feel exhausted. It's going to impact on productivity and performance because quite often somebody is pulled away, whether that's yourself or somebody else within the team is being pulled away to deal with this drama. While they're dealing with the drama, they're not dealing with taking the business forward. You may find yourself afraid to put changes in place. I very often have people talking to me and saying, okay, we need to change this for the business. And yep, we're in agreement. This is the best thing to do for the business. And then they say, but the problem is when I talk to the team, person A, they're going to stir everybody up and we're not going to be able to put this change in place. That's not good for business. That's not good for the rest of the team. That's not healthy for anybody. Business needs to be able to change. You need to be able to do what needs to be done to move through, particularly the current times where we're going through these constant changes, where we've got to reflect on what's going on out there and deal with that within the business. We can't have somebody who is holding us to ransom or holding on to the past in such a way that we can't move forward. So you may find that it's holding back the business. There may even be sabotage events that you're not really seeing, or that they're just slowing things down, or their questioning is making things not happen. That can be affecting the business. You are likely to have people who are leaving the team because actually they just cannot work with this person anymore. It's influencing how they feel about work, and therefore they're finding other roles. They may not even be telling you it's because of this individual. I often find that happens too. But when we know that this is happening, we can all see it. We can see it's happening. It gets swept under the carpet because of the superstar element. But look at the cost implications of everything else. Look at the cost implications of the poor productivity, losing people, having to recruit new people to replace them. All of these things have a cost. They have an effect on the business. Not only that, but if people are being bullied or even harassed, often these behaviours are the tip of the iceberg for, say, sexual harassment. You may find yourself in employment tribunal. Even before it gets to an employment tribunal, if somebody comes to you and says, I'm being bullied or I'm being harassed, you're going to have to deal with that. You're going to have to investigate it. That's going to take up management time to deal with it. It's going to be a tricky investigation because these people are not always straightforward. It's not always obvious. It's often subtle, and therefore it can be really difficult to investigate these situations. But ultimately, if you get somebody who feels like they've got to leave as a result of either being bullied or harassed, they may then be claiming a constructive unfair dismissal claim, where they've felt like they've got to leave because they've not been protected at work. There's no other option to them. Even if they don't bring that claim, you've still got them leaving, you've got the impacts on their performance and stress levels, everything like that before they even leave your employment. So all of these things are harming your business. So how do we deal with this? How do we stop it happening? And stopping it happening is the crucial thing. The biggest mistake that I see businesses make is job descriptions or setting expectations that are purely task oriented. So whatever your performance discussions are, whatever your measures are, your KPIs, all of these things tend to be very specifically linked to tasks. This person is achieving everything you set. They may even be overachieving. As I said at the start, they are your superstars. They are your top performers. The problem is your expectations don't set out behaviours and how people should behave either in the workplace or with the team, what's acceptable, what's expected. And this is where having values is really important. Having expectations around how things are done. Let's take sales as a relatively simple example. We can sell in a number of different ways. One of them could be that we use scare tactics. Now, if your business isn't a business that wants to use scare tactics, that's not your reputation, it's not the message you want to go out, it's not your brand, then your top salesperson using scare tactics is not great. It's not doing what you need them to be doing and could be influencing actually customer experiences further down the line. So you should set out how you want people to sell. You should set out how you want people to be within the team. What is it that you expect? What does good teamwork look like to you? If you've got somebody who is performing well in terms of hitting targets, but is also contributing well to the business, things like supporting the business proactively in making changes that are going to improve the business. Things like that should be part of your expectations on how people are and their role within the organisation, because their role isn't just about these tasks. Their role is the role that they play within the team and how that impacts the business overall. When you put that in place, not only does it mean that once you've got these toxic superstars, you can spot the toxic behaviours, you've got a measure that you can measure it against to say, this doesn't live up to what we expect, and therefore you can deal with it. But you also set out to everybody exactly what's expected of them. You make it really clear to people what it's like to work for you, what you want within your business, the type of people that you want within your business. And you are much more likely to have everybody being much more successful if you've got that in place. And if you've not done it before, do it now. Put it in place. Start setting your expectations with people. Draw a line in the sand. Make it really clear. Now, if this person's been doing this for a really long time, and often it's years before people come to me for advice, it can be really difficult to deal with. And what I would say is take advice on the individual situation, because they are that challenging to deal with, that we've got to pick things apart. And if that behaviour has been accepted for so many years, it can be very difficult to do that. But it is possible, so do take advice on it. But let's stop these people being able to infiltrate your business. Stop them being able to do that harm in the first place by being really clear in setting those expectations. I've also got a video on creating job descriptions. I think that's a really useful video to have a look at as well, because that will help you in terms of establishing these expectations that are about behaviours as well as tasks. If you're finding yourself having to deal with a toxic superstar or anybody that's just challenging you within the business, it can be really hard to pop that question in the comments. I get that. So in the description below, I've put a link to a free advice trial call. Book that call with me and we can have a discussion, get some things in motion for you to be able to start dealing with the situation. But if you've got any comments or questions that you can put in the comments below, please do, and I will do my best to answer every single one. And of course, if you found this video useful, don't forget to hit that subscribe and notification bell so you don't miss a single one.